morning, everybody. I hope you're well. Today, our topic is perimenopause and menopause, okay, with Harmony, who is the Ayurveda and women's health practitioner. So, this is your host, Anjali, and I am the founder of this page, of course, and my profession is health and wellness coach. Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming here. So if you can hear me, please, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. So I'm going to accept bio about her, okay? So Harmony is an Ayurveda and women's health practitioner, registered nurse, and founder of the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy. Hello!
Hi.
Beautiful Harmony here. So I'm just reading your bio, okay? And Alchemist Academy is a dynamic force in the world of holistic well-being. With over 19 years of experience, she is a visionary in the health sector. He's innovative. My his and her and my kids has to constantly tell me, So her innovative higHERself method merges Ayurvedic wisdom with contemporary science and evidence-based practices to help women unlock their full potential, optimize their health, and attain holistic success. So, and there is more. How many things you do?
A few different things.
Yes, and more. Harmony's impact extends beyond the practitioner's chair. She is a trusted business mentor for women in health and wellness industry, assisting them in discovering the soul of their business. Her guidance empowers these women to excel in their career while maintaining personal balance. This is like, you do so many things. I'm like, where do I start and how do you do it?
I think good time management from my nursing career.
Oh, yes, and nursing
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
It's like bringing so it must have been really great combination for you to, because you already have the knowledge and your background from the nursing and then coming to Ayurveda, isn't it?
Yes. My whole mission is really to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, because there's a place for both of those to exist in our worlds, and I've seen the beauty and the limitations of
High five. Yes.
right?
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes, that is what my this platform, that's why I would like to support, like, mindfully and intentionally, like health and wellness, both modern and the traditional medicine, as and yes, that is our mission, and I'm glad we're together, we're in this
I'm on
together.
board.
Yes. And Yun 5928 says hello. Oh, 5298. God, my eyes are like, yes, says hello. So before we start our conversation, I just wanted to do a little bit of housekeeping. This talk that we are doing is not a specific diagnostic or advice for particular person, or whether if you're going through menopause or perimenopause, you might want to go, you can talk to Harmony if you'd like to, like her suggestion, or at the end we always have Q&A session, and you can always pop in the question there. So we'll, Harmony will try to answer you back, and then and yes, and this is general knowledge on our topic. We're going to talk in a whole general, not a specific one. So we know that these topic can be expanded further, and if you like more information and specific inquiries, like we said, contact your health and wellness practitioners, or you can always contact Harmony. I think, would you like to add anything else?
No, that's beautifully said.
Oh, thank you. So let's start. So we will start with first of all, so how is perimenopause and menopause defined in Ayurveda?
Yeah, so this is a great question. And as you mentioned before, like I combined my Ayurvedic and natural health skills with my clinical Western knowledge as well. And so in Ayurveda, I mean, Ayurveda is one of the oldest medicines known to man. It's like 5,000 years old, comes originally from India, and it was documented in the Vedas, first written on palm leaves because there's obviously no textbooks. And back then there wasn't like the term hormone. So they looked at it through the lens of the three doshas, which is the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And that's the three mind, body, energy types that we are made up of. And we as individual humans, women, we have all three doshas within us, but we all have a very unique proportion and they show up in different ways. And so when we look at it from an Ayurvedic lens, like menopause and perimenopause, in modern times, we do integrate like the hormonal tests and the hormonal knowledge that we have today. But from a very traditional sense, it was really based on the doshas. And even today, it doesn't matter what you come in with, what hormonal imbalance. So say you were coming in with like amenorrhea or irregular cycles due to perimenopause, we would still look at that, not as a blanket sort of diagnosis and treatment, but how is your specific dosha being impacted with that diagnosis? So for perimenopause through to menopause transition, someone who has more of a Vata imbalance, they may have more symptoms, like it may manifest more as like dryness or anxiety, insomnia, irregular or very scanty menstrual cycles. So they might have like the lighter bleeds. A Pitta imbalance, that may be more so where you get a lot of those intense hot flushes, the irritability, the anger, the like digestive, I mean, both Vata and Pitta have digestive symptoms with that, with the hormone changes, but different digestive symptoms. So Vata would be more airy and like very bloated, and they might snack and have like a scanty appetite, whereas Pitta might get really hungry and their bowel motions are different. They're a lot more looser, faster. And then you have the Kapha imbalance, which might result in more of that weight gain, that lethargy, like the fluid retention, the edema, and depressive thoughts. So the doshas in perimenopause and menopause, they can present with very different symptoms. And so we can't just say like, you're going through perimenopause, these are the herbs, these are the things that we prescribe for that condition and the transition into menopause, because we look at everyone's individual constitution, which is also known as their dosha, and we treat with that in mind.
Yes, I was reading in your website, it's like you said that the three doshas are like your fingerprints. Like everyone has their different different doshas, and so that's why we have to look into every person in a different way, not just in a like whole in a general way. So that was I was like, oh, fingerprints, and that's interesting. So what are the three doshas again? So Kapha, Vata, and Pitta.
Yes, Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. And so we all have all three within us, but in varying degrees. And then they may show up in different ways in each person. And that's why we don't just do blanket diagnosis treatments. We do diagnosis. I will look at pathology, lab tests, Dutch tests, all of those things, as well as the individual dosha, because then we can prescribe a lifestyle recommendations, dietary recommendations, and herbal recommendations specific for that unique individual's dosha in perimenopause or within the menopause.
Yeah, fantastic. That was beautiful explanation that how different people has a different three different doshas, and you look after them accordingly. So if you are just coming here, I wanted to welcome our new viewers. Thank you so much for coming here today. We just covered what is perimenopause and menopause in Ayurvedic term. Okay. So thank you everyone for coming here today. So we have beautiful harmony here. And so we're gonna go talk about another point. So how can we be certain that because yeah, I've been listening to so many friends and families that how long their, you know, perimenopause, the symptoms lasted or went for, or menopause, you know. So I wanted to, you know, so it just to be not, you know, how can we be certain that we are going through perimenopause or menopause? Like, what are the signs and symptoms you would, you know, say to look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like our doshas, we're very
Yes,
individual. And
yes.
so our perimenopausal phase may last 10 years. Our perimenopausal phase, we might not notice any symptoms like until a year or two before we transition into menopause. The
Mm-hmm.
definition of menopause is that we haven't had an active cycle for over 12 months. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've had a missing menstrual cycle for 6 months and then you have a cycle, you have a bleed, and then you don't have it for another 3 months, and then you have a bleed, then you're not technically in menopause, you're still in perimenopause.
Perimenopause.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and like the signs and symptoms will vary, like I said, from
Mm-hmm.
person to person and from like how your dosha is also responding to your body. But what we commonly see
Mm-hmm.
as signs and symptoms is women will get like hot flushes. We've all heard of hot flushes. And
Yes.
from an Ayurvedic perspective, we are moving through a transition of time from the pitta phase of life into a vata phase. So
Mm-hmm.
when we do bleed, we're cleansing our uterus and we're releasing a lot of the blood and a lot of the buildup of the heat in the body.
Mm-hmm.
When our cycles become irregular, we can have this trapped sort of feeling of pitta in the body, which is trapped heat in the body. So that can contribute
Mm-hmm.
to the menstrual cycle hot flushes,
Hot
which
flushes.
often are closer towards the transition into menopause.
Mm-hmm.
The other, we don't know from a scientific sort of point of view the exact reason why some women get them and some women don't, but it is
Mm-hmm.
believed that the drop in estrogen, and this is why I'm saying it generally happens later, not in the early perimenopausal phase, because
Yes.
often women think that in perimenopause you have like this estrogen level and then it just slowly declines until you get to menopause, but that's not actually accurate. So what can happen in perimenopause is our estrogen can spike and it can go really high, then it can drop, then it can spike. So it's not like this
Mm-hmm.
decline. It's like this woo roller coaster, right? We feel
Better.
that
Yes.
roller coaster. And so with hot flushes specifically, when the estrogen does start declining, so closer to that menopausal sort of end, it affects the hypothalamic thermoneutral zone
Mm-hmm.
in our brain. So
Mm-hmm.
hormones really affect our brain, and this becomes dysregulated, and so therefore we get that sensation of like a lot of heat in the body, and
Mm-hmm.
it can lead to sweating, it can lead to vasodilation, so the dilation of the vessels, and that's
Mm-hmm.
why we often get it like at nighttime. So night sweats is very common with like late perimenopausal to menopausal women. And a lot of the time women will have worsening symptoms in their perimenopausal phase because what's happening is our hormones are shifting, like rapidly shifting, and we have this true sensitivity to the shift in estrogen and progesterone.
Yes.
Often what happens when we go through menopause and we're in menopause, so we've had no menstrual cycle for 12 months,
Mm-hmm.
our hormones have dropped to an all-time low. um, what happens is they're like at that sort of stable low level, and so a lot of women, they have these persistent symptoms but not always as bad. So we do definitely see a lot more drying of like the skin, so we're going again into that vata phase, which is that dryness, vaginal dryness, lower libido, because we're not having like those sex hormones to really boost ovulation, and we're not
Mm-hmm.
ovulating. So a lot of the
Yes.
time, our sexual urges might come
Mm-hmm.
around the
Yeah.
ovulation time, because when we ovulate, we produce our progesterone.
Mm-hmm.
Our progesterone is also our happy hormone. It keeps us calm. And so when that declines, we can have a lot of mood disturbances. And one really common thing that happens in perimenopause through to menopause is mental clarity. Like, have you ever been in that situation where
Foggy.
you're like brain fog and you don't know why? You're like, what am I? What was I about
Yes.
to do? Where was
Mm.
my keys? Like, it's that
Yes.
real brain fog. So our decline or our fluctuation in our hormones has a direct effect on our brain. We've seen that with the hot flushes, and we'll see that with our mood and our mental clarity. And it's because hormones are chemical messengers, and so the messaging loops are being, you know, rewired and dropping and peaking. So yeah, so I think they're the signs and symptoms of perimenopause through to menopause. And again, like I said, menopause is when you haven't had a menstrual cycle for 12 months. You'll still have some like the dryness and those type of symptoms, low libido, but they don't seem to be as severe, and they can be controlled because your hormones have essentially flatlined and they're sort of more stable than in perimenopause when they go up and down. So really for a diagnosis, you're looking at the signs and symptoms, and then yes, we can do pathology, and that will show a shift in our hormone levels in our bloods as well.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I always try to repeat, you know, like what my guest said, but my memory is not the best. So, you know, when you look at Mel Robbins and all those people, they're like, oh, so you just said da 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 da, and I'm like, oh my god, how did they do it, you know? And I want to get better at it, so I wanted to practice that. So say signs and symptoms would be the hot flushes, right? And brain fog, and what was the other one? Brain fog, mood disturbance. Yes, up and down. And did you say 3 or 4?
There'll be cycle changes. Yes. So like you can have lighter, heavier or heavier bleeds. You can have irregular bleeds. So that's a common sign as well.
Yeah.
Unexplained weight gain. I didn't say that. That's one.
Yes. So we, that happens. But lots of people not comfortable about talking about weight gain, but I think we need to talk about it because that is what happens, right? So, and how can we work through it? Otherwise, if we keep not talking about it and keep masking it, and then it just, doesn't, you know, we won't know, and we will think like, oh, wait, it's happening. So what Angel wears, she says, good to know all of these. Namaste. Thank you. So we covered 2 questions so far. So the definition, the definition of perimenopause and menopause, and then the second one is sign and symptoms of our sign and symptoms. And we're going to ask about is there any steps that our women community can take to lessen is the lessen words, lessen these symptoms?
Yeah.
Is it a word?
Reduce the symptoms. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
We definitely can.
We definitely can. And I think it's also really important to remember that our hormones are chemical messengers. They're constantly communicating with each other. So with the decrease of our ovulation in our cycle, obviously our estrogen and our progesterone are changing, and our other sex hormones, testosterone, etc. But they will also impact like our thyroid hormones and our insulin, like our blood sugar hormones, our cortisol, our stress hormones will directly impact our sex hormones and vice versa. And so we do get a lot of signs and symptoms that are more exacerbated as we go through this transition. And I think that's really important to know, just as we're mentioning weight gain, is because those hormones will affect other metabolic hormones. Metabolic hormones, right?
Yes.
And so that is, and even like with our adrenals, they help to regulate our fluid balance. And if we're in a lot of stress, and the cortisol is affecting the sex hormones, so there's this constant effect going on in our body. And so when it comes to managing our symptoms, we need to understand that the hormones work together as a big family, and we can't just say, oh, let's just work on estrogen. I've seen a lot of well-meaning health coaches out there sort of saying, okay, you've got estrogen dominance, so go and just do a liver cleanse because your liver's not detoxifying the excess estrogen. But it's not just like that, because our estrogen, our progesterone, like I said, our cortisol, our insulin, they all play together. And so we need to understand where it's all coming from to be able to manage our signs and our symptoms. And so from an Ayurvedic perspective, we look at balancing the doshas, and by doing so, we need to work out our individual bioconstitution, because someone who is vata is going to be given different symptom management than someone who is very kapha, right? So a vata, they're generally like, they're very social beings. They, like me, talk with their hands, you know, they can be high energy, but then burn out very, very quickly. And they get they're exposed to like more stress and anxiety, so their cortisol might be affecting their cycle. So we need to look at that, and we need to put in some things in place. So like central like regulation of our central nervous system, for instance. So we might be doing some more calming breath work, right? We might be doing some more meditations. We might have to do, like, if we're still working and we're busy in this time, we might do what we call micro meditations. And so we will stop for like 1 minute just to reorientate ourselves and re-regulate our central nervous system. Because if that's constantly being wired, it will definitely be affecting our sex hormones. And if they are in like one of these roller coaster moves that they're going through during menopause, we need to be really mindful of that. Also, a vata will need more warming, nourishing foods. So we need to make sure that nutrition is really on point, especially to support our hormones. So really good, healthy fats, really nourishing foods that can do that. Whereas someone who is more on the kapha side of things, they might be very lethargic, not motivated. They might feel themselves feeling very depressed with the lower hormonal levels. They might be gaining a lot of weight. They might feel very fluid retention. So we're going to give them some different things. Whilst we might be settling and grounding the vata, for the kapha, we might need to really stimulate their lymphatic system to get rid of a lot of those toxins. We might need to be doing more of a breath of fire. So we need to bring in more of that breath of fire. We need to actually stimulate some of that central nervous system. We need to find them motivation. We need to give them more passion. Like, we also need to help them understand, and this goes for any dosha really, but when we're going from the perimenopause through to that transition in menopause, in our Western culture, it's like, oh God, like this means we're aging, like how awkward, how embarrassing, the world's going to know we're aging. But really in those Eastern cultures, we're transitioning into this wise womanhood. And so we have to also educate like the women transitioning through this, that this is just a really beautiful phase of where they're evolving to this next step in life, where they're the, like, you know, the elders of the community, but these wise women, they're stepping into their power. So I think that is a really big thing with also managing those signs and symptoms, because it's the way that we perceive menopause and moving into this phase of life as well. And then, of course, there's a lot of Ayurvedic herbs and remedies that can really support the system. Again, I wouldn't be taking any of these without consulting a practitioner, because it really depends on your dosha. But from an Ayurvedic perspective, there's ashwagandha, which is an adaptogenic herb that can really help manage cortisol levels. There's shatavari, which is known as the queen of herbs. So this is a really beautiful herb to support women's health and the hot flushes and all of those type of things. Triphala is very detoxifying. So if we do need support with estrogen metabolism or detoxifying the gut health, because that can also change depending on our hormones. Brahmi is very calming for the mind. So those people that are suffering with some of that mental clarity, we can throw that in the mix. And there's like a whole lot of different beautiful herbs and remedies and teas and things that we can do to support. But one thing that everyone can do with that transition is what we call self-abhyanga, and that's like an oil massage, and it does help to stimulate the lymphatic system, but it has been shown to really help the hot flush symptoms. I've had a lot of perimenopausal, menopausal women say, I'm doing my abhyanga daily, and it has just absolutely, I don't know how, why, but it's really helped the hot flush symptoms.
Back home to do the massage, it's not called massage, but to do the oil, massage is like, it's been normal for us, but since I moved on this side, obviously I don't do it. It's same with the the massaging the hair,
Oh, yes.
like every week, the women's, all of them line up on the stairs and do each other's hair.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's very interesting. And I didn't want to, you know, and when I came on this side, and I did the massage with my first child, you know, like every day. When they are newborn, we do that. And then, yeah, with the second one, I didn't do as much. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, even after pregnancy as well, we
Yes.
do like every day the postnatal three times a day. So we do the oil massage. But I know it gets a bit sticky and like that. That was the thing that I didn't like, but I didn't realize the health perspective side of it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So many health benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's amazing how many types of herbs you talked about, but I have no idea. I could not think of it. But yeah, so that's so we talked about how we can lessen the symptoms, but it all depends upon the different types of vata you belong to, not belong to, but you are.
The
Right?
doshas, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
doshas, yeah. Yeah. Oh, vata is one of the doshas.
Yeah.
I said vata.
Yes. You're on the right track.
Yeah. No, I'm like, yeah, trying to understand this. But anyway, yes, thank you so much for that. So, okay, so we got the three questions. Oh, you know, like, what is menopause and perimenopause, sign and symptoms, and how can we lessen the symptoms? So now we will talk about, I hope, what Angel wears. She says, I will catch the full video again later. Thank you so much. Okay, and if anyone has come here new, yeah, we have Harmony here today, and she is Ayurveda and women's health practitioner. So we are now jumping into the other question. But it's getting hot here because you're right in the sun.
Hot flushes.
Yeah. So what are some basic steps would you take to find out that I think we almost touched about this, that oh my goodness, the people are repairing next door. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Yeah.
Normally they would ask me, you know,
Yeah.
like if they are doing something.
It's
But
fine.
anyway, bear with us. Sorry. Yes. So what are these steps do you take to find out that the person has the going through perimenopause or menopause?
Yeah, so I think we sort of covered this with the signs and symptoms and the
Yes.
pathology, like seeing the blood results as well. But the thing is that because we are so individual, even our pathology results don't give us a true overview of what each individual is going for, because we often don't have a baseline of what our hormones were like through our 20s and our 30s and our 40s, you know. And so a slight decline in myself or someone else, that might create dramatic effects within the homeostasis of our body and how that reacts. Whereas someone who might have even a bigger decline, they might not feel as many symptoms. So it doesn't always correlate exactly to the symptoms that the person is going to experience. Again, we're so individual, our doshas are so individual. And so we really have to listen to what the person is explaining and how they're presenting. So their bloods might not look like, you know, their hormones have dropped drastically, but maybe for them, if we don't have baselines, it has, or maybe for them, it's triggered different responses in their body. And that's true for women who suffer with PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. They not necessarily have like any higher hormones or lower hormones than other women, but they have a true sensitivity to the fluctuation in hormones that gives them the signs and symptoms that they experience, which are very severe. So we do have to acknowledge that as well.
So it's yeah, okay, sorry, it's so we are it's more like finding out the I wanted to ask because you mentioned the homeostasis. So maybe did you want to explain that? Because like people might not know
Oh, sure.
what that term is.
It
Yeah.
basically just means like our body in balance, like bringing everything back into a balanced state, our hormones into a balanced state, everything that is us functions as us.
Yeah. So that is
we call it like
homeostasis.
homeostatic. Yeah, it's like more of the medical science word, but let's just call it balance.
Yeah, cool.
In
Thank
simple
you.
terms, very, very simple terms.
Yes, no, because for me, yeah, like my friend from Nepal is here. She says, loving you both here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, because she might not know that what that term might be. Well, because in Nepalese, it might be a completely different word. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but thank you for explaining that. So once we find out, I'm going to jump into another question. So once we find out if it is, if we are going through perimenopause or menopause, what will be the next step towards to handle this?
Yeah, so again, I would be, that's all right. I would be definitely looking at the individual signs and symptoms and seeing how best we can support them. Some women sail through it fine. Like we often, it can be like this scary thing. Oh gosh, I'm going to go through all these. But some women are just like, oh, sail through it, and others don't. And so we need to work out the signs and symptoms that are affecting their life and why they are the symptoms, like why they're having those symptoms, and how we can best manage those. And so I would be looking at it from a lifestyle and dietary point of view, because that can do absolute wonders for so many women. And again, I would be applying the diet and lifestyle depending on their unique individual constitution, their dosha. And then would look at supplementation. So what kind of supplementation do they need to support their body? So that could be herbs, it could be nutritionals like say magnesium, vitamin Bs, things like that. And then if they're not getting the symptom relief that they need, it could be an opportunity to refer on to a holistic medical doctor who may be speaking to them about bioidentical hormones.
Yeah. So would you recommend about the movement side as well?
Oh,
I know you said the supplement and then nutrition. Yes, they're all component of it. The movement is another component, isn't it?
Movement is huge, and like even more so, no, I won't say even more so, but just as important in this time of life as it always has been, because estrogen and progesterone, they support the systems of our body as well. So our cardiovascular system, like our bone health, like when our estrogen drops, so does the density and the efficiency of our bone minerals. And so that is why elderly women, they are more prone to fracture, and like they fall and they break their bones more easily, because they don't have the hormones now to support that. So doing exercises, body weight exercises that support bone health is really, really important. And also on that, our hormones also support like I mentioned, our cardiovascular system. So women, and our brain health, as I mentioned. So like leading into diseases such as Alzheimer's or like heart attacks, things like that. So it's super important to be able to move through this time and support our body through movement.
Yes, oh, fantastic! Because when we studied when we studied in the women's health, the fitness side. So as we go towards menopause, our bone health and the muscles start, like you said, they start, declining, and then so movement is another part. So awesome, thank you.
And also, like, as I mentioned, hormones are so connected to each other. And so through this time, if we're feeling like low or feeling more anxious, because higher stress and anxiety is another signs and symptoms, then our cortisol is being released more rapidly. And cortisol in short term is very good and supportive, helps like with inflammation from the adrenaline and so on. But over a long period of time, it becomes very catabolic, meaning that it breaks down muscle mass. And so not only are your sex hormones not supporting your muscle and your bones, you've also then got the cortisol that is essentially like attacking the muscles. So again, being able to support that through movement and body weight exercises, weights, all of that kind of stuff is so important.
That is amazing. I knew a little bit about it, but you explained it and it's such a micro way. So thank you so much. That's wonderful. And then if they we live in a unit and it's stuck together, and normally the lady next door is so good. She would give me heads up. But this time she's away, and But anyway, I'm so sorry, everyone. But the last question we jump into. So, if the symptoms are extreme, and that not extreme, but if someone is really struggling, and if by yourself, like if it seems like it's getting a little bit out of hand. So, would you collaborate with the other support system?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I believe in collaboration is key, especially like with your health. Like you do need a team around you. So if I'm finding that clients symptoms are escalating, I might refer, if they do, that sometimes they might need to see like a professional psychologist, or maybe they need to go to their GP to speak more on that side of things, or to be referred to a specialist in bioidentical hormones, because that could be really helpful for some of the women.
And then the so I know we talk a little bit about the HRT and MHT and that kind of types. Yes. So the what did you say?
Bioidentical hormones.
Yeah, so they do that kind of work, or they
so it's a form of like HRT, but it's bioidentical to your actual hormones, as opposed to something like the contraceptive pill, where some women go on in this perimenopausal phase just to like stop the heavy or irregular bleeding, so on. But they are synthetic hormones, and they, again, don't have the supportive functions of our natural hormones to help support brain health and so on. And there can be other signs and symptoms that exacerbate by taking the contraceptive pill or the synthetic progestins or estradiols, etc. Bioidentical hormones have been created mostly through plant, and they are bioidentical to your hormones, meaning that they're more supportive of the functions that your hormones actually do in your body, like the good functions we spoke about, like the heart health, the brain health, the bone health, the mental health, all of that. So if that woman needs an option to be supported through her transition and in menopause, bioidentical hormones have been proven to be very helpful for some women. That's obviously not my area of expertise, and I can't prescribe those. So I would then suggest that they go and speak to their specialist medical doctor or their GP to get referral for that.
Thank you for clarifying that, because I hear a lot, but I don't know, and you know better than I do. So okay, so this is coming to our Q&A session. So if anyone has a question regarding perimenopause or menopause, please shoot through. And while we're waiting, Harmony, would you like to let us know where can we find your services?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm generally quite active on Instagram. So here on this platform, Harmony Inspired Ayurveda. You can reach out to me there. My website is harmonyinspiredhealth.com.au if you would like to book in a consultation to be supported with your hormonal health. And I also do run the Ayurveda Alchemist Academy. And so if you would love to learn more about Ayurveda and women's health so you can implement it in your practice or for yourself, or just to be able to support your clients better, then reach out, because we would love to have you in our community and shed the light on women's health and Ayurveda. So that's sort of the main places. I do have a Facebook group, the Ayurveda Women's Health Sisterhood. So I do like live streams in there and do a lot of education on women's health and Ayurveda as well.
are you still doing the workshops? You know, like I came to a few of your workshops.
Oh
Are you
yeah, the
still
women in
doing them?
business.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do run Women in Business and Beyond, another
Mm,
Facebook group, and we do events for holistic leaders, so women specifically in the health and
mm.
wellness sort of space. And yeah, there we have one coming up April 19th, actually. We've only got like 2 tickets left, and we've got the Nicole
April
Joy
19th.
coming to speak to us about building confidence and how to
Mm,
speak on camera like this,
yes.
to be able to share your message. It's going to be next level. We're also doing like a little photo shoot. You get 6 branded photos for yourself. We're doing a mastermind on 10xing your business by building confidence so you can go and share your health and wellness message with the world. So
Mm,
that's going to be amazing. It's a VIP mastermind day. So it's beautiful
sounds
lunch.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like your event is gone to the, you know, like another level.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was,
Yeah. We're
yeah,
doing
it was
different.
already, yeah, it
Yeah.
was already, you know, great catching up. And then Steph,
Yeah.
was a brand,
Brand.
uh,
Yeah. Brand
yes,
consultant.
yes. So yeah, it was great fun that time. And
Yeah.
yeah, looking forward to it. Sounds great.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
So they were like the networking events that you came to, but these are like the mastermind events and stuff. We have all
oh,
different.
okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it is the it's on 19th of April.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I was going to write it down in a content just to mention to people if they want to join in.
Oh,
If
beautiful.
you like to send me the link, I can put it in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
amazing.
so
Yeah,
yeah, and people if they want to join in. Yeah, so okay, so I think if you have any other questions or you know that you'd like to know in a Ayurvedic perspective, and then yeah, please send a question through to Harmony and connect with her. I'm going to put all her details in the content down below, and yeah, please get in touch. And thank you so much for coming here today, Harmony. And we truly
thank
appreciate your
you.
time. And despite your, you know, you have to submit your, what were you trying to do? You were trying to submit your, you know,
Yeah,
exam.
I'm doing a
Yeah,
master's in acupuncture as well at uni, and
yeah,
so my computer was not being nice to me today, and I had to submit an assignment, and I
yeah.
was like, oh, my cortisol was like, so yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much. We truly appreciate you for coming here today and for your time and knowledge and so many things to take away. And yes, thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, and
Yeah,
appreciate you building this
yeah.
community as well. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you, Harmony. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Bye.